What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Journal Party Live. We got another nice, chill, relaxing guided journal session for everybody this evening. Um, I've been thinking a lot about gratitude lately. I mean, I think about gratitude a lot. It's part of my regular practice, but I think it's easy to just kind of kick it to the curb, especially if you start to get just a little disoriented by whatever, is going on around you, particularly if there's things that you don't like that are going on around you. It's really easy to, lose sight of what's important. And whenever I realize that that's what I'm doing, I usually try to, dig deep on a gratitude journaling session, just because I don't think there's a faster way to turn things around for just your state of being than actually shining a light on the things that you're the most grateful for, even in spite of the things that you may be judging as negative influences in your life. It makes me think there's once upon a time, I learned a word from some of my Jewish friends. I guess it's a word that they usually use around the time of Passover, when they're celebrating their gratitude, for being led out of Egypt, and that whole thing. And the word that I'm talking about is it's Dayenu, and I believe the word Dayenu actually, it means something along the lines of, it would suffice. It would have sufficed. So like, even if all these really great things didn't happen, it would have been enough. It would have sufficed. And I just thought that was a really cool thing. I mean, it's a little different than what we're talking about now. Where the circumstances may potentially be negative, but I think it's important to realize, like, okay, if even if things weren't super super great, just the fact that we're alive and that we're here, that's something to celebrate and to be grateful for. So hope you all are ready for some good vibes with the tribe this evening. Tonight's program is called Grateful Anyway. So let me know if there's anybody new in here. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to trickle in. Um, I'm not sure if the email went out this week. We had a couple people who weren't sure if we were even going live tonight, and we definitely are. So if you're here, grateful that you showed up, and yeah, we'll just give everybody a couple minutes. Put the little QR code on there for anybody who's wanting to get the app.
Let's groove and vibe. Come on now. Hands on fire, thoughts taking flight. Together we shine, words intertwine. Get funky. Journal party live. It's journaling time.
All right, all right. It's about five after. Hopefully, we've given everybody enough time to show up, and if we get some stragglers coming in, that's fine too. All is well here at Journal Party HQ. I really enjoyed last week's session where we had just like the waves going on. I'm not going to just have these nature sounds here tonight. Actually, we've got some peaceful music though. I think like maybe for these evening sessions, at least every now and then I think it's nice to instead of having this like crazy like funky journal jam session where like it's late at night and we're getting all riled up and stuff. I think it was really nice the last time to just kind of like vibe out into a little bit more of like a peaceful sort of thing. Yeah, we got some tunage for you here this evening that's going to be it's going to be a little more mellow, so I hope everyone's all right with that. And all right, I hope everyone's ready to get rocking with this evening's program. Grateful anyway. So I mentioned a little bit at the top. This is going to be a really useful program, especially if you're going through it right now. And I know I'm hearing it from all over. Everyone's in a weird way these days, it seems. And you know what? It's important that when we're in a weird way that we don't lose our way. And I think that the best way to do that is to get in touch with our sense of gratitude. So we've got 10 prompts for you this evening, 3 minutes per prompt. And, as per usual, I'll read the prompts, fade off into the background, and at the end, we can all hang out, share insights, and, maybe we'll give something away. All right, I hope everyone's ready. I'm going to hit the start now button and get some music going for us. All right, go ahead and open up that journal. Let's get going. All right, your first prompt of the evening is moments of growth. Think of a recent challenge. What's one positive thing you've gained from facing it? Next prompt is silver linings. Recall a disappointment. What unexpected good came out of it? All right, welcome to those joining us. Next prompt is people who uplift. Who in your life supports you through tough times? How does their presence make you feel grateful? Lessons from loss. Reflect on something or someone you've lost. How has this loss shaped who you are today? Next prompt. Strength through struggles. Think of a time when you were pushed to your limits. What strength or skill did you develop because of it? Next prompt is unexpected kindness. Remember a time when someone's kindness surprised you. How did that moment uplift your spirits? Next prompt is gratitude for growth. What difficult experience from your past do you now feel grateful for because it helped you grow? Forgiveness and freedom. Who have you forgiven recently? How has letting go of resentment created space for gratitude? A different perspective. Describe something you've once disliked or complained about. Can you now see anything to appreciate in it? Last one. Grateful anyway. Name a recent frustration or setback. How can you reframe it to find something, anything to feel grateful for? All right, everyone. Hope everyone did well with that. I felt pretty good about it. It's always so nice to reframe these things that show up in our heads as I like to call it head garbage. You know, it's so easy to let your circumstances dictate how you feel in your state of being, and the truth is that we actually have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. In the sense that you know, we can actually, in a moment, affect our state of being and return to the world, and then hopefully yield better circumstances. So, for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you as part of the Journal Party family. Hopefully, you found this enjoyable, and we do this every Wednesday, mostly every Wednesday. Every now and then, I got to go on vacation or something like that. But you know, as we grow, we can probably get people to help out, so we don't even miss them. But yeah, appreciate you showing up this evening. You know, I at this point, after we finish writing, typically what we do is we all just hang out and share our insights at the end. You never have to share what you've written. Your journal can always remain your sacred, safe space, and you know, you can keep it secret if you want. You know, that said, I think you know, these insights that we get are always really nice to share. So if you feel comfortable sharing any of the insights that you emerged with, and then please do. I know that it can take some time to type those things in, and so I usually kick us off. I think the biggest thing that was just kind of thematic for me in this was just the concept of perspective, and really, I think that's, as human beings, we have a limited and finite perspective. And unfortunately, that can lead us to, kind of put things into a box. And, our minds can, be not so nice to ourselves. And, we can start telling ourselves the story that our lives aren't good, or that, there can be judgment about the things that are showing up in your life. And, I don't want to, cheapen anyone's life experience. Some things are certainly difficult, absolutely difficult. But with perspective, I think that we can look at all of life's circumstances as a gift, even if they're really painful. And I found myself going through some really painful memories here, but it's a beautiful thing when you can boldly face those things and actually find perspective that just you know that makes it all worthwhile. I mean, gosh, it feels like yesterday, but I lost my father in 2015, and he was like my mentor, but also like my best friend, all rolled up into one. And I was just sort of reflecting on how how quickly things had to change for me in my life. And loss is a really tough one. And this one was huge. Like I said, he was my, like kind of like my best friend and confidant and everything. And he was always such a really great mentor for me, particularly, as it pertained to business. But that was really poignant for me as I was growing up, and just, entering the workforce. I mean, I graduated college in 2008, and if you remember, 2008 wasn't really a great time to graduate. It's not like they were just handing out jobs. And so, he sort of just coached me through understanding that, whether or not there were jobs available, that I had value to share with the world. And, helped me get my first business off the ground, which by some miracle was successful. I had a lot of failed businesses after that, but it was awesome as I was kind of building that whole thing, being able to call him every day and learn so much from him. And in addition to just being about like a mentorship within business, it was he was like really just kind of coaching me through the steps of becoming like a man. And I know that they say like, oh, when you're 13, you're 18 or whatever, but like, I mean, I don't really think that you at least I don't know, maybe this is me just judging. I don't know that you really become a man or an adult until you're really out there having to kind of fend for yourself. And that, I was just sort of reflecting on the fact that when I lost him, I had to adopt all these new roles and responsibilities within my family, but also within my own life. And it was just sort of this crash course in growing up. Like I thought I had grown up, but I had to grow up real fast. And it was tough because, in that process, I really would have loved to have been able to just call him on the phone and share every success and every failure with him and get advice. But what I learned was that, he was really showing me how to go within. And that's what a lot of the great stuff that we do here is. I mean, there's so many great mentors and teachers out there, coaches, and that's great. It's awesome to be able to be helped in that sense. But, the reality is that like inside of you have a ton of wisdom. And, that's where your intuition comes from. And, that's like, even if you don't know the answers, like you can find the answers, but there's something deeper there, a current that I think runs through us. And, I think he had been kind of coaching me and showing me how to tap into that. And, when he was finally not with us anymore, I was worried at first. Like I was worried, like, how am I going to do this? But ultimately, I think I found out what I was made of really quickly. And so, really just helped me find a lot of value for myself as an individual that, I mean, it also just helped with like just the sense of autonomy. It's like, all right, you don't know, nobody's coming to save you anymore. Like, here you go. Like, it's like when you throw your kid in the pool. But anyway, that was my share. Gosh, I miss him every day. But isn't it a beautiful thing to be able to look at such heavy loss and see all the things that you've gained from it? At least for me, that was a really powerful thing this evening. So I'm taking a look at some of your comments here. Deidre says, great session. It's always good to be reminded that we can always give space for grace. Absolutely. Absolutely. June Collins, loss is huge. Yeah. And it's a fact of life. Like, it's not going to stop. Like, you're not going to stop losing things that you value. And, I mean, to that end, I think it's important to examine the attachments that we have in our lives. Like, not that you need to let go. I mean, I guess depending on your school of thought, letting go of attachments can kind of be the name of the game. But not to say that things aren't worth attaching to, but it is a fact that nothing's permanent, and so to be able to find perspective within loss is just so powerful. Elizabeth said, regarding number 8, letting go of resentment led me to feel more free, become more me, because the resentment was eating me up and destroying the good parts of me. Absolutely. You just made me think of like a really great, I guess it's like a quote or saying, and I think this is like from Zen stuff. I'm sure you'll find this wisdom in all major schools of thought, which is just the idea is that harboring resentment or even anger for someone else is like is like holding on to a scalding hot stone with the intent of throwing it at your enemy to hurt them. And it's kind of funny, right? Because like sometimes you're so mad or you're resentful about something, and you just want to you want to lash out, you want to but harboring onto that resentment, like you're the only one who's holding that and feeling that in that moment. And so it's very powerful to be able to let that go. Even if you wish someone would get knocked down a peg or two or whatever it is, those aren't our things to control, I don't think. And that's an important way to think about it, I guess, because it's like, well, what can we control? And we can decide to let go of these things and feel a little bit better and to be free. And that's when I think the goodness of life finds its way to us. June said, I have a business mentoring angel. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because years later, even something like Journal Party just wouldn't exist without the gifts that man bestowed upon me in my upbringing. So, miss you every day, man. Nahal said, life sometimes forces us to grow through an unbelievable crash course, but we do learn. Yeah. And the other thing that I've experienced is that life will continue to present us with the same lesson in myriad forms until we learn it. Take that for what you will, but I've had that show up in all the pillars of life, in my relationships, with my health, and with things pertaining to my finances. There are lessons that the numbers on the page may be different, or the face on the individual, but man, these lessons, the core of them, they show up over and over again until we learn them. Kathy says, moment of growth. I always had agoraphobia and anxiety, but COVID heightened them, and I had to relearn my coping skills when the world opened back up. I was able to attend 3 events without one of my kids being my escort, and that's growth for me. Well, that's great. That's great. So, yeah, I mean, part of Journal Party, at least as I see it and dream of it to be, is a place where we can share our successes with each other, and no matter how big or small, if you see it as a win, then I think we're all cheering for you. So I'm happy to read that, Kathy. Letra says, I lost my daughter in 2020 to COVID-19. Oh, I'm so sorry. And my life completely changed. My patience with others is better. I value relationships more. Uh, yeah, I mean, thank you for your share. That's just it's so incredibly tough, right? Like there's no journal prompt that's going to make somebody come back, right? But what we can do is find that perspective and find a way to integrate these events into our lives. And lost is there, but it can't be these like attachments and stuff, they can't be what define us. And I think what defines us is how we respond to these things. And so it sounds like you've been through it, I'm sure. But what a beautiful response, right? So we're here for your support and all of that. And of course, that's a real heavy one. So I look, I'm sure if you're here, you don't need me to tell you that if you need help, that it's there for you out there. But yeah, let us know if we can support you in any way in that. And of course, if it gets really tough, then you know of course there's people out there who can help. Yeah, gosh, here we got another one. Kyra says, I lost my brother to suicide in 2016, and his death was a reminder that we never know what people are going through, and that something as simple as a smile can bring enough light into someone's life, um, that they decide to stay another day. Always lead with kindness and compassion. Yes. Thank you. Another really difficult share, and my heart goes out to you. That's just what an awful experience to have to go through. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You never know what's going on in someone's head, what they're going through in their life. And it's so crazy. Like you ever just like for a moment, maybe walking through a big city or something like that, just have the realization that we all have our own lives and like these whole stories, and then, like these whole heroes' journeys that we're going through. And, you know, gosh, I mean, I feel like, I'm doing well, but, it's easy maybe to forget that other people aren't doing so well. And kindness and compassion is so important. And it's particularly in times like these where, I know a lot of us are feeling like, yeah, a lot of us are feeling just like completely disillusioned and disconnected from like an entire half of the population right now. Again, not to make this like a Trump party's never going to be a political thing, but I think like our a lot of our reactions tend to be just to cut the other off and not seek some sort of understanding. And on one hand, I think if you identify negativity in your life, and something that doesn't serve you, I think it's absolutely okay to cut it off like gangrene. That said, I think compassion is the enlightened perspective there, because if someone's being a jerk or whatever it is, I mean, not that excuses that behavior, but we always just I think a lot of us just assume that it's just because the other person's like a jerk or an a-hole. And I mean, maybe they're going through some battle, and had they had the support that they needed, that they wouldn't have arrived at the place that they've arrived. And obviously there's no one size fits all sort of thing for everybody, and all these circumstances in our lives. But I think to orient ourselves from a place of wanting to seek understanding, and knowing, I mean, personally, I have a belief that we're, deep down, that we're all one. And so, this idea of like combating, the other is, it's, I think it's detrimental to the greater self. And so yeah, it's obviously easier said than done, right? These circumstances, and like we're living in this life. And I mean, there's certain cultures out there, we'll call it like Maya, or like some grander illusion, that's a play or a dance that's sort of masking the greater truth. And I think that greater truth is that that we're all one. I mean, that's like what that golden rule is, right? Treat others as you would like to be treated, because hey, maybe spoiler alert, like they are you, and it is you treating yourself. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to get on too much of a soapbox here, but Thanks for the share, Kyra. I know that's not easy stuff to share with the public, and I hope that you find ease in your journey of understanding that. But I mean, it sounds like you've got a really good head on your shoulders. So really appreciate the share and the perspective there. Nahal says, I felt I was being tested all summer as life handed me unbelievable circumstances, one after another, and I really learned who shows up for me in life. Yeah, I feel that. What's that saying? Like when it rains, it pours for good things and bad. Man, sometimes I personally, like, I, I think I got a good head on my shoulders, but I'm not immune to just feeling like you're just getting served the business, right? Sometimes it just feels like one thing after another, and you're right. In those moments, like you really do realize who's there for you in a big way, and to focus on that is a really nice thing. I mean, I had a couple entries in here, just really appreciative of the people who show up in my life, namely my future wife, and also my best guy friend. Just in different they add different things, but they both show up for me in a really big way, and that's so important. And I know it's not something that everybody has. Like, not everybody has like people who at the drop of a hat would show up for you. And well, to that, I think things like this are good. It's good to see community, and obviously we're all here virtually for each other. But yeah, it's so important, to have community, to have friendship, to have these relationships in our lives that that when the going gets tough, somebody who can pick you up and shake you out of it, snap you out of it, and so I'm glad you have that. Kathy says, 34 years ago, I lost my mom and lost my dad 2 years after her. I'm so sorry. The lessons they have tried to teach me has been applied many times. Being an only child sucked because no one else understood my emotions around all of this. They raised an independent and strong young lady who's actually outlived their ages. Well, that's awesome. So congratulations, for, I worry about that sometimes. Like my dad died pretty young. And so sometimes I wonder, he had cancer, and I just wonder, is there some ticking time bomb in my genes? Like, am I just, and that's not not a fun way of thinking. Um, yeah, like I I don't know. I hope that I can outlive live him. But yeah, about in terms of not not having anyone else who understands your emotions around all this. That's I can only imagine how tough that is. But at least it says, looks like you found a way to reframe that as something that made you more independent and stronger. And here you are hanging out with a bunch of like-minded people who are also independent and strong, but in community. So yeah, thanks for the share. And it sounds like you've had quite a journey. So I hope you continue to show up and hang out with us and share the things you've learned on it. Tasha says, I had to forgive myself for making unwise choices years ago because I listened to a close family member. I had so much resentment for this person that I made myself sick. I had aches and pains a lot this last summer, along with severe depression. I let go with lots of prayer and therapy. Good. And all of that so I can heal. I need to be myself and not a shell of a person. I feel so free now and grateful I'm alive. Well, that's great. And it sounds like you realize you had some tools at your disposal, and prayer, therapy, journaling, meditation. It's really good to cultivate these practices in your life, because I mean, gosh, like it had you at the point where you're literally feeling physical aches and pains and sickness, and I think that's a common thing, actually. But I don't know if you've ever heard of the concept of a samskara. which Eastern concept, but just this idea that these things that happen to us, sometimes we hold on to them, and we integrate them rather than letting them go, and then we try to make the world be a certain way to fit our stuff, and these things that we've like made our lives about that aren't really what just aren't really what life's about. And so we try so hard to like make life fit into that, and I think that causes a lot of pain, because I mean it's like fighting the ocean. We talked about this a lot. This world is so much bigger than us, and I mean it's literally billions of years in the making, and that's a lot of power to try to get in the way of, and to stop, and to try to manipulate and control. And it's so much easier. Easier said than done, but it's easier in practice, I would say, to actually let it go, and to find ways to allow life to be, and to orient yourself, go with the flow, right? Don't try to swim up the river. You realize there's a river, and you build a raft and you ride the river, and let the currents be the force that propels you. And so it sounds like you're well on your way with that. So let us know if we can support you in any of that. And thanks for the share. Oh, where's our music? Oh, we heard that one. There we go. June, lost my dad in 2001. It was tough, especially when they would not allow me to go see him during COVID. It was tough. Yeah. What an awful thing. Yeah, I remember, oh gosh, during COVID, my brother was assaulted by a homeless guy. He jumped out like of an alley and smashed a bottle over his head. I was so worried that he had brain damage, and they wouldn't let me up into the hospital to see him. Such a scary thing, like when you're worried about someone, and you can't even see them. So gosh, I hope that nothing like that ever happens again for us. And I'm sorry for your loss. Gosh, you're giving everyone here a virtual hug. Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you. From Letcher too. Tyra says, we all have the most important thing in common. We are human. Yeah, totally. And what a wild thing. What a trip. I mean, you ever stop for a minute and think about how ridiculous this all is? Like it's just unbelievable, but you have no choice but to believe it because you're experiencing it. But that's just it. You are the one experiencing it, and I think that perspective of being the observer is pretty important. And so what is it like? You're a spiritual being having a human experience, so. Even when it gets tough, it's powerful to orient yourself that way, and dig in. This is if this all really is some grand dance, and we're all players on a grand cosmic stage, then gosh, I hope you give the performance of the lifetime. Nahal said, the biggest lesson of 2024 has been all I have is all I need. That's really powerful too. Yeah. For sure. I mean, a lot of us spend so much time wanting stuff, and you don't realize, like, well, how wonderful it is to be able to, just to be. Deidre says, that is so true. I love the phrase, lead with kindness and compassion. My heart goes out to you and your family. We're all going through things and need to just be aware. Finding my tribe helps me know that I am not alone, no matter what I go through. Makes me grateful for each of them. Absolutely, yeah. And I heard a quote one time. I don't know if it was a quote of a quote or whatever. Anybody ever? Oh gosh, his name's gonna escape me now. Wayne Dyer. You ever hear of that guy? I used to read and listen to a lot of him, and he's no longer with us. But There's something I remember he said one time that it just gave me a lot of comfort, which was um, something to the effect of like um, if you only knew who walked beside you um, always, then you would never be afraid. Um, and I don't want to inject too much religion or spirituality here, although I think ultimately, like, the spirituality is like what it is, right? But you, I guess, you know you aren't alone. You aren't alone. I don't believe that you are. And if you knew like what like the grander reality was, and how beautiful it was, we would never get caught up or hung up in these things that we fret about constantly. Not to rob you of your human experience. I think part of it is getting intoxicated by the grand illusion of things and feeling it all. But ultimately, we all will release that someday. And I think that behind that veil is something really, really beautiful and wonderful. Kathy Poo says, still working on forgiveness theory, weekly therapy sessions, several super support groups, and you guys here. Kathy says, also breast cancer survivor here, 16 years of remission. Yes, congratulations. That's great. June 2021. Kyra says, we are all so interconnected too. My gratitude practice has amplified that for me. Whenever I sit down to eat a meal, I think about all the people it took to get this food to my plate, and how we really rely on each other more than we realize. Oh my gosh, absolutely. All the things that had to happen, right? Like, even for like a little piece of lettuce on your plate, like the amount of like people that had to exist and no longer exist, like just for that to even happen, for that farmer to have grown up and found those seeds, and connected to those suppliers, and it's all so much bigger than we think. And then I mean, that's the word that keeps coming up for me, is perspective, right? Having that perspective is just so powerful. Kathy Poo says, I really appreciate everyone's openness tonight. Kathy, cancer got me too. It got me in 2000, came back in 2007. Lucky to be alive. Yeah. Cancer, man. Well, my heart goes out to you. And also, just if there's any way I can lend my strength and spirit to those of you who have fought or are fighting that battle, that's where my intentions lie. I mean, I was talking a lot about my father earlier in this, and that was cancer. And it's one of these things, like, oh gosh, I don't know if there's anybody whose life hasn't been touched by that, or just something is equally horrifying and scary. And so I think it's just so important that we do find this sort of perspective for ourselves, and find these relationships that we can use to lean on and get us through. And yeah, glad to have you here too, Kathy. And yeah, with all of that, it's like, well, as much wisdom as we're dropping here, I think the greatest bit of wisdom is that I don't know. I don't know. I think it's okay to not know, and I think it's okay to be curious, and I think it's okay to seek. But we also sometimes just need to even let that go, and live our lives. Have some faith. Have some trust in the process. It's bigger. It's bigger than a journaling method. It's bigger than a meditation practice. It's bigger than even cancer. All of these things are literally billions of years in the making. And so, I think that massive domino rally is leading us somewhere. And I, for one, am grateful that I'm on this ride with all of you. You guys are some really wonderful people, and it's been really wonderful connecting with all of you. And so thank you so much. Let's real quick. I'm gonna we need to give away something. So all right, Old Faithful. We're going to give away one of my prompt books this evening. So, all right, who's the winner of the raffle tonight? Let me get the raffle thing up. All righty, ready-o. Who's gonna win it? The winner of the 365 journal prompts book written by yours truly is Doodah D. I believe Doodah was new this evening. So, Doodah, let me know if you're still here. And if not, we'll get you one when we see you next time. All right. I'm not sure if Doodah is still in. So, all right. Well, if I guess the next time we see Doodah, someone remind me that she won the raffle because she's not in the Facebook group, I don't think. So, all right, folks. Well, a couple of really exciting things. We've got these. I might have shown these off in the past. I designed this guided journaling deck here called the Self-Discovery Deck. Got 52 journal prompts. Well, oops, let me show the prompt side. But yeah, these are fine. Gosh, it's not a mirror, so I might what's going on. But we got all these really great prompts on all these cards, and so these actually just landed at our fulfillment warehouse. They let me know that today, and so I have a call with them tomorrow to get that all set up, throw them in the shop, and pretty soon you guys will be able to pick up your very own self-discovery deck from Journal Party. So even if you don't like the app, I'm an analog guy. I know I made the app, but I love, that's why I write in a pen and paper journal. So I think I'm really excited to make those available to you guys all really soon. So anyway, check that out. Check out the podcast if you haven't listened to it yet. Get the app. Keep showing up for Journal Party Live. And guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, wonderful rest of your week. And it's time for me to go eat some stuff. I'm hungry. So, all right, everyone. Love